Number 6. I don't have my violin on me. All right, so normally I would do number 6 and 7 together, but we are going to do just number 6, and then because there's so much to do. Syncopation. Syncopation is the accent of the offbeat, and that can be in many different spots. So our downbeat is typically number 1. That's where we have our downbeat, and so anything off of that can be considered syncopation in a weird roundabout way. And we have hemiolos. We have so many different kinds of syncopation. And a lot of the time, bowed instruments, stringed instruments get told that they have terrible rhythm. And so my goal is to make sure that you have great rhythm. And syncopation is something that orchestral students, I feel, don't get enough experience with. The band instruments, they play spot on every single time because it's drilled into their head, and they have a lot of music with it. I don't feel like orchestral students get enough of it because it can be so much fun. We just don't do a whole lot of march-like things, but it shows up in great places, and we need to be comfortable with it. So my great story about syncopation is I had a wonderful band director that in my middle school years that unfortunately just passed away last year, and he was a god to me. And so he approached me one time and said, "Hey Rach, we need a saxophone for next concert. You have 2 months." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay. So this will be like my 6th instrument. I'm down. I got it. I'm gonna do this." And I was in 8th grade, and so I showed up before school, during lunch, after school, took it home. I just did everything, and I nailed it. Syncopation was one of those things that I was not great at, and so he would stand over. He had this great forearm, oh my gosh, that he could click all day, and he stood above my stand. This sounds terrifying for most people, but it was one and so he would do this for me, with me, for I seemed like days, and he got me to get syncopation. And so I love to teach my students how to do syncopation, but we need to make sure that we have a firm understanding of how 8th notes go. So please, I hope you've been counting with me the whole time and that you're very comfortable with it. So our 8th notes are just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And we want to really, really feel that so that we can make these particular notes, these awkward notes, to be that much more confident. So we have 1/8 note, a quarter note, an 8th note, and then 2 quarter notes. So this is a great way to get started on syncopation. So we have that 1/8 note that starts right there. So that's our 1. And then we have our quarter note. So we know that a quarter note gets 2 8th notes. So it's going to absorb this and this 2. And so then we have an 8th note. So all that's left over is that 8th note then. So then that 3rd beat, this quarter note gets all of that 8th note, and this 4th beat gets all of that beat as well. So we have 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. Now there are several different ways that we can count through this. We can clap our 8th notes, or have a metronome in the background. So if we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 3 4. So let me show you that again. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. Because we feel 2. 1 and 3 4. And so we're going to feel all of that. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. Good. So now let's get back to just that quarter note beat. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. Now there are several different ways of how to do this bowing, but we are going to alternate every single time for this one. And so we have to be really kind to ourselves, because if we just do 1 and, then we're out of space. So we have that down bow eighth note and that up bow quarter note, and then we have an eighth note, and then we have two more quarter notes. So start off more in the middle, and we're going to be very forgiving with ourselves. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. So I want you to put this part of the video on loop and do this as many times as needed. Do the air bowing, then we're going to do it on just one string, then we're going to do it on all 4 strings, and then we're going to play this. So that's why I did just number 6 by itself. So ready and go in. 1 and 3 4. 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 Great. Now loop that a bajillion times. And now let's do it on an open A. So a little bit more on that big, mid bow, so that we're not doing it too close to that frog. So we have some more to go. Ready and go in. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. Good. Loop that as many times as you need to. Now let's do it on the G, the D, the A, the E, A, D, G. 1 and ready, go. 1 and 3 4. D. 1 and 3 4. A. 1 and 3 4. E string. 1 and 3 4. A string. 1 and 3 4. D. 1 and 3 4. 1 and 3 4. Okay, so then they have an accent in this as well, and that's going to happen a little bit more naturally for you. I really hope so, especially when you're playing with somebody. Now that is going to we're just going to lean into it a little bit more. 1 and 3 4. So let's try that on the A string. And so to accent something, I'm not doing anything. I'm not moving my hand any differently. I'm leaning. I'm showing you what I'm doing. I lean in with this first finger so that I can bite that string a little bit more. Some people say that they squeeze their bow. I don't feel that I can squeeze my bow. I feel it's called pronating that wrist so that you can bite that string a little bit harder. So let's do it on the A string a few times. Ready and go in. 1 and 3. With that sometimes is to have a little bit more of a staccato with that note before, because that will add to that accent as well, because we went from silence to noise, and that will make it seem like there's so much more of an accent with it. So all right, now let's do that with the fingers. So we're playing G, 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 A, 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 B, 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 G, 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 and then repeat. So let's do it with the repeat because it's great practice. 1 and ready, go.